Alrighty guys, welcome back to another LEGO set review from BrickByBrick, and today we have the LEGO Chinese New Year Lion Dance, set number 80104, and this is one of the two Chinese New Year sets released in 2020, and this was after LEGO listened to the fans and decided to release the Chinese New Year sets not year-round. I guess technically they were available for about a year, but worldwide. And we have one instruction booklet, which is actually smaller than I was expecting, but I guess it makes sense, as you do build basically the same thing 5 times. But yeah, the box size is a little bit interesting. It's a little bit taller than I was expecting, and more square. I think it's almost perfectly square, and does just show a couple little scenes on the back of the box as well, which is pretty cool, as well as all of the figures up here along the top. And yeah, it's overall an interesting design, and I kind of like the way that these Chinese New Year boxes look. So here we have all the contents of the set, and this set's kind of interesting because there's really no like single main build. I guess you could sort of argue that is, but even then, it's basically just a bunch of smaller things thrown into one set. So we're going to take a look at each thing separately, and then we will come back together like this for the end. This is actually the last thing that gets built, but it's the first one that we're going to take a look at because it does have the least going on, really. It's got some studded space on the bottom. It's just a temple gate shrine thing, which, we've seen stuff sort of similar-ish to this in Ninjago in the past, but none to this level of detail. And this is done with the same color scheme as the temple, entrance from the Chinese New Year Temple Fair set. So you could put this in front of that and it would go really well together. And as a result, it does use a lot of the same kind of building techniques, a lot of the same types of parts too, like these ingot pieces and these half circular 1x1 tile-ish parts. And, golden frogs and everything, as well as these teal parts down here, which includes this interesting 1x1 plate with bar at the end, which is pretty new in this color. I don't believe that was even in the Temple Fair. Maybe it was. Maybe I'm misremembering. But regardless, if it's not exclusive to this set, it's only in those two. We also have these printed tiles up here, which are also pretty cool. Both of those also appear in the Temple Fair, used for the same thing as this, but you get 3 of this 1x2 tile, and then a 1x4, and that's actually repeated on the other side, so you get 6 and 2, which, it's nice to get some cool new parts with some cool new designs. And these can't really be angled back and forth because they're sort of locked in place by the parts above them and below them. Also, we have this light yellowish orange color ingot, which is a new color for that. This set also has these ingot pieces in this yellowish orange color, and those are a pretty new color. They've appeared in like a few sets before this year, but still very uncommon, and you get 8 of them here, as well as these wedge plates, these 3x3 wedge plates that are used on all of these corners. Those are brand new and exclusive to this set, so cool to get. But yeah, other than the new parts and stuff here, there's really not too much going on here. From the sides, you don't have anything covering this up, which is a little bit, tiny bit unfortunate, but you can see through here that it does use those shield pieces to attach the roof sections. And up here on top, there is a jumper plate that just has one stud, which allows you to place a figure up there if you want to. Continuing with the little scenery builds, we have this small little percussionist stage thing, which has several instruments on it, and then place approximately for all these guys to stand, but it gets a little cramped. We have this guy with the cymbals here, which we'll see all the figures later. And there's just a little bit of space for him to stand. He could be facing this direction too. And he kind of has the most free space there. This guy over here with the gong and the stick kind of is a little bit restricted on how much space he has to stand in. He can maybe sort of stand there, but even then, he kind of got pushed the gong out of the way because his stick is a little bit long for that. If you want to stand in like here, I guess you could do it maybe a little bit easier if you have his stick completely vertically, but then it doesn't really look like he's hitting the gong. I don't know. It works well enough, I guess. But this drum is apparently called a tangu, with 2 G's, so hopefully I pronounced that right. and that is actually an exclusive color for this plastic wheel part, and it does have just a tile on the top, which looks pretty good. I like the build for that drum, and it does use a brand new and exclusive currently color of sausage part in pearl gold, and you do get an extra part of that, and I'll show you a shot of the extra parts that you get in the set at the end of the video. Well, not the complete end, but towards the end. And this does have a little bit of a function which they advertise as a little drumming function, and that is in the set's description on Shop at Home. It works okay. You know, you kind of just push this handle back and forth, and he sort of hits it, but you can't really get like the right angle, and it is made even harder by the fact that, you know, these guys sort of restrict motion to the side. I guess I got this guy into a little bit of a better position, but before I was having a little bit of difficulty, but yeah, that's sort of the best you can do with the drumming function. So it's it's a nice thought, but it doesn't add too much value to the set, at least from my point of view. Before we move on to the final scenery section, we're going to have to take a look at these lions first, because they're heavily involved in the purpose of this last bit. But you do get 5 of these lions in this set, and they're all built pretty much the same way, just using different colors, and there's like some really small differences in the actual build itself. Like at the bottom of the jaw, and like a little bit with the head, but the bodies are basically all the same. You have 3, well, I guess 6, 3 on both sides of this printed fur on the back, and they do use some of these 1x1 round plates with the bars on them, and these new 3 leaf pieces in gold, which is a pretty uncommon color for that. You do get another one of these for the tail as well. And they do actually use minifigure legs on the bottom to represent the people that are, you know, dancing as this lion. And these are exclusive to the set, and there are 3 different versions of the prints, 1 for each different type of lion. And the head can move up and down. You can't really turn it side to side. It's not on a ball joint or anything. But, you know, that's okay. And there is a 2x2 printed slider piece here, which this is the same for all of the dragons, but it looks pretty cool and definitely adds to the look. The red, or the white, is a little bit redder than I would have liked. It's not as opaque as would have been perfect, but it's not too bad, not too distracting. And you do get these Technic ball pieces printed as the lion's eyes, and this this particular like bowl bottom piece with a stud inside is actually exclusive in that color. The other ones are just normal colors, but this one is new, which is cool. And you get some bananas there. And the mouth can open and close. And there are 2 versions of this 2x2 corner round tile piece, and one of them is on yellow and the other one is on white. The white one is used on both of the other designs, so exclusive to this design is those ones. And, you know, just looking from the bottom, nothing too crazy there. It's all built around a 2x6 brick, and yeah, that's pretty much all there is for this particular lion. Again, you get 2 of the exact same one here. We also get 2 of this red and white design, and again, the differences here are that printed fur, that's a different design for that. The eyes are the same, this is the same. The mouth print is different just because it's on white, and other than that it's the same. The build underneath the bottom jaw is just slightly different. On these yellow ones we have the 1x2 tooth plate, and on this one we have this 1x2 plate with the 2 bars on the side. The leg print for this guy is also a little bit different, and there are none of those like flower petal pieces on the edges of these ones. It's just 6 of the 1x1 round plate with bar, and the tail can move up and down, and the head can move up and down, and we do also use these scroll bricks in gold, which I didn't point out in the last one, but white frogs are also a less common color, and yeah, other than that, pretty similar build, but again, still looks pretty good. You do get a little bit of the green in this one too, which I kind of like that small accent color. And the 5th lion here is this white and red one, and this one I think looks pretty good. I like the prints on this one, and I feel like the prints are sort of slightly just a little bit better done just because they are on base white. But obviously all of them in the set do look pretty good. We do have the different legs for this one as well. Obviously the prints on the face are all the same as the last one, but the colors on that are swapped around to get these white scroll bricks this time. Again, white frogs, and yeah, that's pretty much all there is to this one as far as differences go. It's pretty similar to the yellow ones, and the fact that it does have those 1x2 that 1x2 tooth plate on the lower jaw as well. And the last build of the set is this little stage for the lion dancers, and all three of these figures have the legs that are the same as underneath the lion dancer builds here. So I assume that these are all supposed to be lion dancers that just aren't in the lion costume thing. But we'll see those up close with the figures. But one of the minifigures here does have an accessory that works pretty well with one of the lions. Here we have this Best Wishes scroll, and this scroll, you can take one of the lion dancers, and we're gonna end up sticking them on these posts here for their dance routine later. But you can take this, you can fold it down, and you can stick this onto the bottom of the top jaw, and once you get that in place, you can close the bottom jaw, and it looks like he's holding that in his mouth. So that's pretty cool, and a nice simple little feature. I personally don't know the significance that has in the lion dance tradition, but it is a thing, and that is an exclusive 2x3 printed tile. Now, as far as the rest of this thing goes, there's not really any features at all. I do like how they keep the color scheme consistent with the Dragon Dance set from last year, so if you wanted to line up both of those next to each other, it probably wouldn't look too bad. But the only feature that this has really is that you can pull that off, and inside here is just a hollow space. You could use that to store some accessories, like you could throw the cabbage in here, I guess, if your guy doesn't want to carry that, and I guess you could also throw the fireworks in there, and, I don't know, just, put that back and hide them, and grab them again when you need them later. But basically, this is just designed to be a place for you to pose up some of your lion dancers, and you can kind of make them rear up into the air, which I guess you'd probably like to see that. But then you can just attach them all however you see fit. You could throw one down here on the bottom, maybe in the process of getting up there, and you could do that again. It gets a little crowded when you try to put all of them up here, but I'll do it anyway. And it's not the most secure thing ever. There's just a single stud connection, but they feel pretty decently sturdy, so I wouldn't be too uncomfortable displaying them like this, but it is a little bit fragile. Like if you accidentally knock into one, it will fall off, so consider that. But I do think that it is displayable like this. And again, usually I don't focus on the extra pieces included with the set or anything, but with these Chinese New Year sets, they tend to include a decent, interesting selection, so I just wanted to show you this real quick. There's nothing super exciting in this one, relative to the Temple Fair, but you do get one of these paintbrush pieces unprinted, which I believe was only otherwise used in the large Hogwarts direct-to-consumer set, and this golden sausage, which is actually exclusive to the set, so both of those are kind of cool. The rest is some neat stuff, but nothing crazy special. The first two figures we'll take a look at are these two lion dancers, and we've already seen this Best Wishes scroll, but, that is the accessory that they give her in the instructions, so you're seeing it again briefly here. But when we remove that, we can see the torso printing a little better. The torsos are the same between these two, and the legs are both featured on the lions, so, however, I should mention that those legs are each exclusive to the set. You just get, 5 of those legs, and I think this is the one that there's only one lion of, so you get 3 of those, and obviously you do get 2 of these torsos. The fireworks build for this lady is also used in the Temple Fair, but it is pretty effective, and I think that it looks pretty good. And I believe neither of these figures have exclusive facial or alternate facial expressions, and none of them are exclusive, but this one is a little bit uncommon, having only appeared in the last year of city sets, and I think it was in the modular now too. So it's getting a little bit more common, but it's only been in 5 sets so far. And the hairpiece for her is actually Wild Styles hairpiece, but unprinted. So that is new and exclusive to the set so far. The other hairpiece here is uncommon, but it was used for Tarantula from the Lego Batman movie, and I believe one figure in a modular building. And here we have our symbol guy and the cabbage holding dude. The cabbage piece here is actually the city hairpiece that was introduced a couple years ago. referred to as the Karen hair generally, but it is in a bright green color for the first and probably only time. I mean, I guess maybe they'll do it again, but it doesn't seem too likely that we'll get it again anytime soon, so it is kind of cool, and it is pretty effective. This guy's torso is exclusive and only on this one minifigure, and his legs are from the red and white lions, so he is one of the lion dancers as well. This guy's torso and legs are also going to be seen on the next two figures that we look at, but they are exclusive to the set, and you get 3 of each of them. He has no alternate facial expression, and that's pretty common face, but he looks pretty good as well. And this guy doesn't have an alternate, or does have an alternate face, and I think he's the only one with an alternate face in this set. No, I don't think the rat guy does, but we'll see that later. And he's pretty scared, so I mean, I guess he's afraid of the cabbage. And these next 2 percussionists just use the same parts as the one we just saw. However, they both just have accessories of 3 long bars to use as the drumsticks and also the gong stick. Is that what you call it? Their face prints are nothing crazy uncommon. You know, I think both of these appeared in the Dragon Boat race too, as well as the last guy's face did as well. So, you know, they have been in other Chinese New Year sets too even, so if you're just collecting those, these won't be anything new to you. But the torsos and legs are pretty decent prints, and again, neither of these have alternate faces, because you would be able to see them through the bandana. And for the last 2 figures, we have the mayor and the guy in the rat costume. I don't know how this guy became the mayor, but according to the Brick Set minifigure list, he's the mayor. So, I don't know, he looks like he's the same guy that appeared in the Dragon Boat race as the judge, so maybe he is. He has the same face and hair at least, so. And that would sort of make sense since canonically the same family appears in both last year's New Year's dinner and this year's Temple Fair, so I guess we sort of have a couple characters in this Chinese New Year theme, which is kind of cool. The rat costume guy actually has a brand new mold, which that's the only brand new mold in this head for that rat costume headgear piece. It would be interesting to see a whole rat suit guy in some CMF series later, as a nice reuse of this part. But he has that ball accessory, which is a BB-8 body piece, and that was actually designed for the Dragon Dance last year, but they've reused it here, and I do think that it is a really, really cool design, so glad to get it again, especially now that it's available over here in the United States. The face print for him is nothing crazy. The torso print is new, and the leg print as well, which he has the legs that are designed to be the same color as the rat costume. The mayor here has a pretty decently common torso, but he has this new scarf piece in red, which is also in the other Chinese New Year set for this year, but it's nice to be able to get that in more colors, and he also has a paintbrush unpainted, so no printing on that, which is pretty uncommon and was first used in the direct-to-consumer Hogwarts set. They both have back printing, and Rat Guy eventually gets sick of being a rat costume guy, so, you know, this is for when that happens. So this set has 882 pieces, and it's $80 with 8 minifigures, and it has a lot of exclusive prints, and a lot of exclusive colors of parts. But I have a little bit of trouble recommending it, just as it doesn't quite feel like $80 of stuff here. It feels like probably generously 60, maybe 65. That, again, when you break it down and look at all the parts here, and the fact that it's all printed and everything, and there's so much exclusive stuff, I don't have that much of a problem with the $80 price point. It just the building experience. Well, I guess the building experience is a little bit, it's like boost the value a little bit, but just the, like, when you're done building it and you step back and you look at what you got here, you just kind of, or at least I just kind of felt like, that could have been better. The Temple Fair, I think, was a much better deal, and I think the volume of stuff on that one was pretty good. Whereas, just there's not that much you can do with this one. The lions, they're all cool, but again, it feels like you've done the same thing over and over again, and as a result, they sort of feel a little bit less valuable. Like, I could give each of the each of the lions I would give maybe like $6. I would want to say 5, but like then I think about all the prints. So that's like $30 there. Maybe this thing I would generously give 10 because you do have the 3 minifigures there. This thing back here I would give maybe 15, 20. So that's like we're like 50 now. And then you're left with this stage and then the 4 minifigures here, which I have trouble calling that $30 worth. I'd say maybe it's like 15. So we come out to like 65, and it's kind of a shame because they put a lot of good stuff into this. It just didn't quite put enough to make it a must-have at the retail price. If you can get a good promo with it, then I would recommend at least considering it. But it's a shame that it just doesn't feel quite as worth it. And I think as a result, it's easily the worst value of all of the Chinese New Year sets that they've released. I think if you have all the other ones and you want to expand it, this is still worth checking out, at least considering. But it's just definitely the worst of the batch by a pretty decent amount. So overall, I'd cautiously recommend it. And I mean, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And if any of you ended up buying it, do you like it? And do you think it was worth the price? That's just questions that I have that I'd like to have a little bit of a conversation about in the comments. So, hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you did, let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys all next time. Bye, everyone.